The Fisherman and His Wife. Once upon a time, there was a poor fisherman. He lived with his wife in a very small and dirty pigsty. The pigsty stood close to the sea. Every day the fisherman went to the sea with his fishing rod. He sat on the shore and looked at the water. He waited for fish to come. One day he sat on the shore as usual. The waves sparkled in the sun. Suddenly, his fishing line went deep down into the water. He pulled the line up with force. He caught a very big fish, but the fish could speak. The fish said, "Please let me live. I am not a real fish. I am an enchanted prince. Put me back into the water and let me go." The fisherman was surprised. He said, "Oh, I do not need to hear many words. I do not want a fish that can talk. Swim away, please." He put the fish back into the sea. The fish swam down quickly. It left a long red line of blood in the water. The fisherman went home to his wife in the dirty pigsty. He told her everything. He said, "I caught a big fish today. The fish spoke to me. It said it was an enchanted prince. So I let it go back into the sea." His wife was not happy. She said, "Did you ask the fish for anything? We live very badly in this dirty pigsty. Go back to the fish and tell him we want a nice little cottage." The fisherman did not like this idea. He felt worried. But he went back to the sea anyway. When he came to the shore, the water looked yellow and green. It was not calm. He stood at the edge of the water and said these words, "O man of the sea, hearken to me. My wife Ilsebil will have her own will, and hath sent me to beg a boon of thee." The fish swam up to him and asked, "What does your wife want?" The fisherman answered, "My wife does not like living in the pigsty. She wants a nice little cottage." The fish said, "Go home. She is already in the cottage." The fisherman went home. He saw his wife standing at the door of a pretty little cottage. She said, "Come in, come in. Is this not much better than the dirty pigsty?" Inside the cottage, there was a parlor, a bedroom, and a kitchen. Behind the cottage, there was a small garden with many flowers and fruits. There was also a yard with ducks and chickens. The fisherman was happy. He said, "Now we will live happily here." His wife answered, "We will try, at least for some time." For 1 or 2 weeks, everything was good. They lived quietly in the nice cottage. But then the wife said, "Husband, this cottage is too small. The yard and the garden are not big enough. I want a large stone castle. Go back to the fish and tell him to give us a castle." The fisherman was not happy. He said, "Wife, I do not like to go again. The fish may become angry. We should be happy with this pretty cottage." But his wife answered, "Nonsense. He would do it gladly. Go and ask." The fisherman felt heavy in his heart, but he went to the sea. This time the water looked dark and gloomy. He stood near the waves and said the same words again. "O man of the sea, hearken to me. My wife Ilsebil will have her own will, and hath sent me to beg a boon of thee." The fish came and asked, "What does she want now?" The fisherman said sadly, "My wife wants to live in a big stone castle." The fish answered, "Go home. She is already standing at the gate of the castle." The fisherman went home. He saw his wife standing in front of a great stone castle. She said, "Look, is this not grand?" They went inside together. There were many servants. The rooms were rich and beautiful. There were golden chairs and tables. Behind the castle there was a big garden and a large park. In the park there were sheep, goats, hares, and deer. In the yard there were stables and cowhouses. The fisherman looked around and said, "Now we can live happily in this beautiful castle for the rest of our lives." His wife answered, Maybe. But let us sleep first and think about it. They went to bed. The next morning the wife woke up early. The sun was shining. She pushed her husband with her elbow and said, "Get up. We must be king of all the land." The fisherman was surprised. He said, "Wife, why do we need to be king?" "I do not want to be king." But she answered, "Then I will be king." The fisherman said, "How can you be king? The fish cannot make you king." His wife became angry and said, "I am king now. You are my husband. Go to the fish and tell him I want to be king." The fisherman felt very sad, but he went to the sea. This time the sea looked dark gray. There were big waves with white foam. He stood near the water and said the words again. "O man of the sea, hearken to me. My wife Ilsebil will have her own will, and hath sent me to beg a boon of thee." The fish came and asked, "What does she want now?" The fisherman said, "My wife wants to be king." The fish answered, "Go home, she is king already." The fisherman went back. He saw many soldiers near the palace. He heard drums and trumpets. Inside the palace his wife sat on a throne of gold and diamonds. She had a golden crown on her head. 6 tall maidens stood on each side of her. The fisherman looked at her for a long time and said, "Are you king now?" She answered, "Yes, I am king." The fisherman said, "This is fine. Now we can be happy and want nothing more." But his wife said, "I do not know. Never is a long time. I am king, but I am tired of it. I want to be emperor." The fisherman was shocked. He said, "Why do you want to be emperor? The fish cannot make you emperor." His wife answered angrily, "Go to the fish. I will be emperor." The fisherman went back to the sea. He was very worried. The sea looked even darker. Big waves rolled and the wind was strong. He said the words once more. The fish came and asked what she wanted. The fisherman said, "She wants to be emperor." The fish answered, "Go home. She is emperor already." He returned home. His wife sat on a very high throne made of solid gold. She had a huge crown 2 yards high on her head. Guards and attendants stood around her. Princes, dukes, and earls stood in front of her. The fisherman said, "Are you emperor now?" She answered, "Yes, I am emperor." He looked at all this greatness and said, "This is very grand. Now you must be happy. You cannot be greater than emperor." But his wife said, "I will think about that." They went to bed, but the wife could not sleep. She thought all night about what she could become next. In the morning the sun rose. She looked at the sun through the window and became angry. She woke her husband and said, "Go to the fish. Tell him I must be lord of the sun and the moon." The fisherman was frightened. He said, "Wife, can you not be happy with being emperor?" She answered, "No, I am uneasy while the sun and moon rise without my permission. Go now." The fisherman went to the sea with fear. A terrible storm began. The trees shook, the rocks shook. The sky became black with dark clouds. Lightning flashed and thunder rolled. The sea had huge black waves with white foam on top. The ships were in danger. The fisherman was very scared. His knees shook. But he went close to the water and said the words with a trembling voice. "O man of the sea, hearken to me. My wife, Ilsebil, will have her own will, and hath sent me to beg a boon of thee." The fish came and asked, "What does she want now?" The fisherman answered, "She wants to be lord of the sun and the moon." The fish said, "Go home to your pigsty again." And so the fisherman and his wife live in the dirty pigsty to this very day. They never became greater than before. The wife wanted too much, and in the end, they lost everything.
Подпишись, пожалуйста, или хотя бы поставь лайк. Один лайк не меняет мир, но меняет путь того, кто делится смыслом.